don't have now worry about who's going to manage our desktops, whether it's going to be in one location or 4 locations or 10 locations spread across geographically all over the globe. They don't have to worry about managing these desktops and the applications and the data. All the businesses need to do now is to focus more on their core deliverables, the infrastructure that is required to host their business applications and other mailing and communication and other office files. All of those are now taken over by the service providers. So the businesses will benefit from this particular environment where they have ample time enough to spend more of their resources, the time and their people resources on the core deliverables. Now, enterprises, businesses spend a lot of money to acquire a lot of assets and resources in order that they can set up this IT environment and an infrastructure that will help them build their business and grow their business. But most of the time, the amount of money that is being invested is not giving them enough tangible results. What happens is they put in some money to acquire, not some money, they put in a lot of money to acquire technology, but all those resources are being not being put to use at the optimum level. The reason being, if a particular asset is being bought, an IT asset is being bought for a particular project, the complete set of resources that come up with that particular asset is dedicated for the whole project, and the project might not completely use all those resources. So likewise, if there are many projects running in an enterprise and each is given a separate infrastructure for running their projects, then a lot of money is being invested, but then ultimately when things are brought to account, we see that the money that was put for acquiring those assets has not given them the returns enough. The reason being, if they had planned for 100% utilization of the assets that they acquire, the project would have consumed only 15 or 20% of the resources. Now, when businesses are looking at virtualization and desktop delivery from a virtualized environment, what happens is the resources are all pooled. The storage resources, the network resources, the file resources, the server, the hardware server resources, all of these, the memory, the processor, these are all pooled at the data center. And so what happens is these resources are put to the maximum or the optimum use, because all these resources are made available to all the users all the time. So when there is a peak requirement of a resource, when there is a peak requirement of a given resource, the person who requires that particular resource will be given that particular resource and that resource without any limit, because the resources are pooled at the data center. Say, for example, I want so much allocation of storage space for my project. Now, if that is from a pooled resource, then the storage space that is allocated will be very much more than enough for that particular project if it is pulled out from a pooled resource environment. So what happens is the amount that was invested in acquiring these resources for the IT infrastructure setup is now made available to everybody, and ample resources for all who are going to use. So the return on investment is going to be of it's going to be really very much on the higher side. Again, user self-service will reduce dependence on the skilled IT personnel for provisioning of resources. For example, if at all there is a new project that is coming in, and there is a requirement of say 25 desktops for that particular project. The project manager need not go to the IT, the system administrator or the CIO and request for more resources. Provide them 25 desktops and all the resources that are connected to it. What the project manager has to do is just connect to the cloud and provision for himself so many number of desktops. So what happens is the user self-service, that is going to be of a great advantage for people who are going for new ventures and who want to scale up from their current level of activity to higher level of activity. Now, it can also be the other way around, where people do not want much of the resource that has been allocated for them. They can release the resources through the user self-service in order that those resources can be made available to people who really require such resources. Now, again, when it's going to be a virtualized environment for desktops, the agility in setting up or scaling up the IT resources will increase manifold. So they don't have to wait for 2 or 3 days or a week in order that an infrastructure is made available for a particular department or a particular project. All that would happen is they will log into their system and immediately ask for this particular provision, and within few minutes they will be able to access all the resources that are required for a project or a new venture. So the desktops that are available through these kind of virtualized environment, there will be less firefighting and less help desk service requests. So people can function with greater independence. People can function with greater, flexibility and have access to these services from the cloud, the private or the public cloud. What impact will this have for the society? It's going to bring people closer than ever before. We know that people today are very much aware of the social business applications that are coming up, that have already taken the much of their time or much of their life, I would say. The Facebook, the Twitter, or the YouTube, or whatever, all of those are going to be available to people on their desktops as business applications in such a way that people will become much more connected, and connected always 24/7. So what happens is, any information that is required by anybody from anybody is always made available to those people then and there. So people who are half a world across can share their information with each other with the help of this kind of a cloud environment, and that instantly. So you don't have to worry about people sitting in different branch offices, or who are sitting in the different geographically separated places. What locations? What happens is, this distance between people will now become very, very what do I say? The distance between people will disappear, I would say. Collaboration across geographies will be easier than ever. A particular a file or an image that I want to share with my colleague who is in the US, when I'm sitting in India, can be transferred in a moment, and that person will have access to my file there. And not only that, both of us can work on the same file at a time, whether it's going to be an image file or an office file, a spreadsheet or a document or a presentation. We can work on the same file at a time. That's going to be the future of the applications that I will or we will be using. So collaboration across geographies, that's going to be easier than ever. Now, social business applications will rule the behavior of the individuals. And so what happens is the enterprises will make use or take mileage or benefit from the social business applications and expand their businesses and also keep their employees connected together in order that they can function better. The productivity, the everyday job productivity of the employees is going to increase manifold because of the network that is going to spread wide across through these special social business applications. So it's going to really benefit the society very much because people will come closer and the interaction between people will be much more. Now, talking about the personal life, people today complain about we don't have enough time to interact with people in our families. But then families now can benefit from this kind of a cloud desktop virtualized environment, in the sense people can work from home and deliver the same or much more than what they would be doing when they have to travel to their offices, say traveling on in today's traffic, spending 2 or 3 hours in the car or a cab, going to the office and then sitting down there and delivering their the work. That is going to be a lot of energy sapping and time consuming. So then when people can work from their own places, then it's going to be a better environment for them to work, freedom, more freedom for them to work. So what happens is they can have a better productivity or results shown because of the freedom and the independence with which they are able to work. It's going to be management by objective. So they, the people who are assigned a job, they will be expected to deliver the results. That's all. It does not matter where they sit to work or where they move or whether they travel. Then all that would boil down to is the objective met, and that will be met because of the independence and the freedom with which people can work, because the desktops are available to them from anywhere in any device. Now, all the domestic gadgets will also be controlled and managed from the desktop itself. That is also possible. We also have advertisements coming about some of the ACs being controlled at home through your mobile phone. Now, that is one small example of how the domestic gadgets can also be controlled from your desktops, whether they are going to be laptops or mobile devices. You can manage the domestic gadgets also from your desktop. Now, touch is going to replace the click and the keyboard. That is going to be something really happening in the coming year or the next year, because all the big software vendors, the leading software vendors today are coming up with applications and operating systems that will support this touch, and that will help them to work faster and will help them to do their work better. So touch is going to be the norm hereafter. The keyboard, even the keyboard will be a virtual keyboard, and you need to touch the screen, not that you can type out whatever commands or whatever input that you want to give through. Again, not only touch, there are also a lot of inventions going on and a lot of technology that is being developed where your gestures are much more than enough in order to give a command to the applications in your desktop. Now, a couple of days back, there was a big gathering at Bangalore by a leading software vendor, and about more than 3,000 techies were gathered in that particular gathering that happens every year, where the software vendor, they were showcasing their new products, and the most important product that they were showcasing was the new operating system that is to come up as the next version, and we suppose touch and even the gestures. So that's going to be ruling the day in the years to come. So virtual buttons, I think you should look at some of the very beautiful videos that are available at the TED.com. Hope some of you would have already have seen some of the videos there, like a video from Pranav Mistry. He has come up with the sixth sense technology. That video that I saw was very, very impressive. It's going to be all gestures, your hand movements, your speech, all of those will be recognized by the desktops that are coming up. All right. So virtual buttons, and they are not even going to be physical. You will point to a button on the screen through your finger, and immediately the command is given. Such technology is available today. So that's going to be what is going to happen in the technology, the desktop, the virtualized desktop that is going to happen in